The next thing I want to add to the maze craze is a villain, something you want to avoid inside the maze. So the first thing I encourage you to do is to pick a sprite that you want to use for that villain. And remember, you can pick animated GIFs that you download on the internet. I'm going to choose one of the items in the library. I'm just going to choose the default bat just for simplicity, but you, of course, can pick something else. And this bat, relative to the size of Scratch, seems a little big and a little obnoxious. So I'm going to start by reducing the size of that bat. And I'm going to put the bat at the start. I'm going to set the bat size to about 50%. So let's see how that looks. Perfect. Now what I want to do is I want to just add, like we did when we did our name activity, I just want to have this bat kind of cruise around, fly around the screen. And so I'm going to do some things to add some motion to that bat and a forever loop. One of the things I want the bat to do is to flap its wings and kind of look like a flying bat. So I'm just going to test what that looks like. That's a little much, but well, I could add slowing it down if I wanted to. So I'll throw in a little slow down. That might be too much. Oh, every 5 seconds, definitely too much. At 0.5. That's too slow. 0.1. That looks reasonable right there. So there's a couple of options I have. I could put my movement in this forever block, or I could, depending on if I wanted to move more, I could make a new forever block. But for this, I'm just going to use this movement and have the bat move like that. And I'm just going to have it bounce back and forth. So, let's set that rotation style so that it does it right. So it's not going to rotate when it hits the edge. It's just going to kind of bounce like that. So I'm just going to have that bat bounce back and forth. But in that position, it's particularly challenging to beat that level just because it's in that spot there. So I'm going to move it to a more reasonable location. I'm going to put it here at the start. So I moved it to that position. I'm now going to have it start at that position. When I drag out an X, Y, or an XY block from a position the object's currently at, it's just going to record that position. So there's my bat. It's just going to fly back and forth, and then I'm going to have Scratch move around the maze and be challenged by the bat being in that position. And I just want to make sure I can get underneath it. Yep, I can get underneath it without touching it. That's kind of what I was hoping for. Ooh, that might have touched. I think I might want to move the bat up just a little bit. So I might move it to negative 71 just to move it up a little bit. Yeah, so that it can get through there correctly. Okay, so now the next thing is to add the bat to the list of colliders. Because right now, even if Scratch collides with the bat, nothing happens. So the question is, there must be some black in the bat. I did get lucky. Yeah, sometimes it will be okay, and sometimes it looks like it hit the black of the eyes maybe. But I want to add it so that whenever it hits that bat, whenever I'm touching the bat, I'm going to go back to this starting position where Scratch starts. So I'm going to put Scratch back at start, and then I'm going to add yet another if statement. This if statement, I have to be careful. Notice how that if statement kind of went into the other if statement. That would have been a no-no. That would have caused it to be a nested if statement. That's not what I want. I want it to be a separate, what we call parallel if statement. So it's going to check this one, then this one, then this one. If I would have left it inside of there, it would have checked this one, and it would have checked this one. And if this one is true, then also check that one, which isn't what I meant. I mean, check this one, check this one, check this one. So in that, I'm going to change the event to sensing, and I'm going to see if instead of touching mouse pointer, I'm now going to be touching the bat. So if Scratch is touching the bat, then I'm going to glide back to home. So now the bat is also going to cause Scratch to return home. So let's watch that in action. First, can I avoid the bat completely, which is what I intend the player to be able to do. Yes, I am able to win, and that's kind of timed well, where it's still a challenge, but it's not impossible. And the next challenge is when I touch it, does it? Oh, it did. Perfect. It killed it. Now, let's say I just want this bat to be on a certain level. Not on every level, just on a certain level. I can code that too. So I can say hide. So I'm going to leave this code where it, well, yeah, I'll have it start by hiding. And then I can pick that I want the bat to appear only on certain backdrops. So when the backdrop is backdrop 1, I want the bat to show. But when the backdrop switches, when the backdrop switches to backdrop 2, I want the bat to hide. Because they'll go in order, unless you add some kind of power-ups that skip levels, which you certainly are welcome to do, and then you have to code for that occurrence. Right now, the bat will only be there on backdrop 1, which we're not on backdrop 1, so let's go to backdrop 1. That's backdrop 3. There's backdrop 1. And notice how the bat will only appear on backdrop 1, but then when I go back to backdrop 2, the bat is gone. You can add all kinds of different villains and have the different villains for different screens.